Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today on this show. Each and every Thursday, I'd love to be able to bring you some type of high-performance health tips that I think you'll be able to use in your life. And if not for you, maybe it's for a client of yours, a patient for yours, if you're a practitioner, or a loved one. And I just got some really exciting news. So I wanted to be able to share that with you. I shared it inside of High Performance Health, which is simply, the best up-to-date research on anti-aging, longevity, life extension. But of course, every single week and every single day in the Cabral Concept, I want to bring you, hopefully, the tips that I've been able to see over the past 25 years of being in this health and wellness and fitness-based industry, an industry that I'm truly grateful for, because a lot of people don't know this. I got into the industry based on my own health. So I was suffering from autoimmune issues like rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes, Addison's disease, POTS, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I had mast cell activation syndrome, so I had debilitating allergies and hives and skin issues. I had insomnia. There were so many issues with my body. My body was at an immune level compromised, which is why I ended up with all of these, again, debilitating based issues. And so slowly over time, and this is the late 90s, I began to realize that there were these connections within the body, that the adrenals weren't separated from the thyroid, that my blood sugar levels actually had to do with the low levels of cortisol that I was producing with Addison's disease. I realized that my inflammation, the autoimmune issue, was coming from my gut issues, which was precipitated by Candida overgrowth, which is yeast. I had bacterial overgrowth, and I had H. pylori, which is a bacteria in my stomach. I also had leaky gut, so when I ate, even though I was trying to eat healthy, all of the proteins and different types of bacteria would spill through my gut wall and into my bloodstream. And then that would elevate certain immune-based markers, creating massive inflammation and setting off specific genetics that I have that made me worse over time. So that's what we call the rain barrel effect. So eventually you get exposed to, like in this modern day, which in the 90s we didn't have as much of, but like Wi-Fi or EMFs, or you're exposed to mercury or aluminum or heavy metals, or maybe certain viruses. You might have stress in your life, poor food, choices. All of these things fill up that rain barrel until you start to feel symptoms. And then one day the rain barrel is overflowing. You end up like me with a medical history of all these diagnosed diseases. Now, you're hopefully more fortunate than I am. If you're dealing with a health issue, I hope that it's only one and that it's easier for you to take care of. But no matter who we are, we all have certain things within our genes, within our genetics, that leave us predisposed to certain health issues. To make a really long story short, from 17 years old to 27 years old, I had all these diagnosed illnesses. At 27 years old, I overcame every single one of them. I overcame the autoimmune issues, the Addison's disease with my adrenals. I overcame the POTS, the postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I overcame the mast cell-based issues that would get better in the preceding years, or I should say the years after, 27 years old, and all the other health issues, the insomnia, et cetera. And what I realized at that point is that no medical doctors ever told me that I could heal. I was told that I was going to have to manage these diseases for the rest of my life. And at best, I could use medications to keep my body from feeling all the different symptoms of low mood, low energy, low drive, low ambition, brain fog, poor sleep, debilitating allergies, poor immune system function. I had pneumonia 5 out of 6 winters in my early 20s. That is not normal. I had no immune system. I had folliculitis. I had all these different skin issues. My body was just so imbalanced. And yet I overcame them all when I met my mentor, Dr. Peet. She is who helped take me. I had read thousands of books before I was even 30 years old, and let's say a couple thousand before I met Dr. Peet. I had seen 100 different practitioners. I was doing things. I would start to get well, and then I would relapse. I would start to get well, and I would relapse. When I met Dr. Peet, she simply took the knowledge that other practitioners had, the plans and protocols that I was on, and put it into one holistic system for healing. I combined the best of at-home lab testing with functional medicine, with the Ayurvedic wisdom, and genetics. So I didn't overlook genetics. She understood that my parents and all four of my grandparents had autoimmune issues. So I would probably get one as well. She understood that there was a lot of diabetes in my family. So that made sense. But what I did was I worked the plan. And as I began to work the plan, which is of course bio-individualized for me, and that's what I do today. There is no one diet for everyone. There's no one exercise protocol. There's no one anything, right? There's foundations that we all need, but we need to bio-individualize that based on our unique body and genetics and also where we're at in life. What works today doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work a year from now. We need to adjust based on where we are in life. But once I trusted her. I followed her plan. I got well, I healed within a 6-month period of time. 10 years of struggle, 6 months finally brought it all together. So I no longer had, and I had to deal with this then, because I no longer had autoimmune issues. I no longer had Addison's disease, primary Addison's disease, which you're supposedly not supposed to recover from. Again, this is diagnosed. I was on medication for it, all these different things. And then no medications, no disease state, perfect blood markers. How is that possible? Well, what I realized, again, through her teaching, is that, and then, again, going back to school then for my degree in naturopathy, my doctor's degree in naturopathy, and then interning all over the world, this is just learning from all these brilliant minds. I realized that, yes, we may all be predisposed to something. There's no doubt about that. I know that I am, even today. Even though I'm disease-free today, I know that inside of my genetics are the autoimmune issues, the type 2 diabetes, the POTS, the different things that I had before, the mast cell activation syndrome, right? The mastocytosis. That's in my genes. I'm prone to inflammation. I'm prone to histamines. When you look at my genetics, I have a horribly dealt hand of cards that is not great for ApoE genotype. I've talked about that before. I can link it up today at episode 2708. I have terrible MTHFR markers, and same with COMT for detox. You don't need to know what those mean, but they mean that I produce a lot of inflammation in my body. I don't handle certain fats very well, and I'm going to be prone to a lot of these autoimmune issues, and unfortunately all cancer-based issues. I shouldn't say cancer, but I should say inflammatory. We're all prone to cancer-based issues based on the toxicity in our environment. That unfortunately is the wild card, but we can do a lot to try to mitigate that. But what I'd like to share with you today is this, because I have a lot to be grateful for. I have to be grateful for all the practitioners who didn't necessarily help me get well, but helped me on the path to even being able to know to meet a Dr. Peet. I have to be thankful for Dr. Peet. I have to be thankful for being able to get my doctoral degree and intern all over the world with brilliant doctors and minds. And I have to be thankful for all of the different clients that have helped me on my path to even understanding and knowing how to help others today. Well over 250,000 people we've worked with. But I did something which I've never seen happen in the industry yet. And I take zero credit for it. I did the work, but it's based on research, and it is based on just hours and hours of intensity and dedication. I have never seen someone with an ApoE genotype that includes a 4, or an MTHFR, heterozygous or homozygous, which means 2 copies of a gene mutation, which basically doesn't allow you to even read and copy your DNA as well. So you end up with more errors as you begin to age and a lot more inflammation. And COMT, which is how your body detoxes. The more toxins you build up in your body, the more inflammation, the more oxidative stress, the more free radical damage, the more inflammation, the more aging. That's what happens. Well, I happen to have all of those. Again, not the best deck of cards. I should say, well, maybe the whole deck, but certainly not the best hand. And so I've never seen anybody, when you look at a biological age test, be able to age slower than about a 1.0, which means 1 year of aging for every year of chronology. Now, if you've heard me talk on this topic before, you know that your chronological age does not have to match your biological age. Your chronological age is how many years you've been on this planet. But your biological age is how old you are biologically. It could be older than your age. It could be younger than your age, right? So some people at 45 years old, they're in a 62-year-old's body, right? Because of maybe, unfortunately, smoking, sedentary lifestyle, poor food choices, high levels of stress, poor sleep, etc. But there are those people at 45 that might be in a 37-year-old's body, and they've made more of those positive changes that I talk about in the rain barrel effect, right? The diet, the exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, and a success mindset, right? The de-stress protocol. Well, unfortunately though, many people though with that ApoE genotype, MTHFR and COMT, the best that I've ever seen, and the best that I've seen from any of these labs, is a 0.95. That means for every year of living, you can reduce it by essentially 0.5. So you're aging a little slower every year, which is amazing, right? So over 10 years, you'd age about 9.5 years. And the best that we really see people, even if they have amazing ApoE genotype, MTHFR, and COMT, right? Just think of those as certain genetic markers. We see them typically at like 0.79, 0.8. The best people that we've ever seen on any of these labs is about a 0.69. So people with my genetics, typically at about 0.95, that's fantastic. That's always been my goal, shooting for that for biological age testing. And until today, which I'm about to share with you, that's the best that I've seen done. Well, over the last 6 months, I've begun to implement a lot of the protocols that I teach in high performance health, all of which I've shared on various podcasts. I talk about, obviously, the Mediterranean diet, specific forms of intermittent fasting, specific forms of exercise, functional medicine detoxification, certain nutrients that you're using, all of these different markers. And I got back my lab results that I've been waiting for, but not anxiously waiting for, because honestly, I didn't expect to see lower than a 0.95. And when I opened the results, I just scanned through it quickly, and I saw that my rate of aging is now 0.77. It puts me in the top 1% of anyone, even near my age group. So 0.77 means that for every 10 years of aging, I'm only aging 7.7. When you can look at that over the course now of, let's say, the next 50 years, I'm essentially adding on an extra, 17 years or so of potential life or more. But also it means that my biology is growing younger and healthier. And why I'm attaching no real gold star, for lack of a better way, is that this is a huge breakthrough. And I'm unbelievably grateful for being able to even be exposed to all of the brilliant clinicians, PhDs, researchers, practitioners, authors that I've studied, that I've read on, and then implemented in my own practice over the past 2 decades of learning, of working with clients, and then truly implementing with myself. And I've overcome something that has always been in the back of my mind, that I would never be able to achieve a slower rate of aging, like I see with a lot of people that are doing the right things, but they have better genetics. And I wanted to share this with you because, honestly, genetics don't get too much worse than mine. And I'm very comfortable and very happy with saying that, because I've overcome the autoimmune issues. I know that they're there in the background, but I don't have them anymore. So are you saying them in remission, or are they completely gone? It doesn't matter. I don't have them, right? They don't show up anywhere. No symptoms and not on my lab tests. So what I'm sharing with you is this. No matter what your genetics, no matter what your family history, no matter what you're predisposed to, there's always an answer. You can absolutely overcome them. I'm living proof. I have no great genetics. I have no special talents. I have what I have is the desire and the perseverance to find the answers and then see it through. And what I'm even more excited for is that I haven't even dialed in everything that I want to use within the high performance health protocols. When this test was done, I still haven't even implemented, and I'm very honest about saying this, my zone 2 cardio. I've been mainly weight training. So I haven't gotten that effect as much as I want. I've been getting in the walking, yes. Getting in the sleep, getting the diet, getting the intermittent fasting, yes. But also my son has only been at twice a week. And the best results are at 4 or more times a week. So I can still improve that. I can still improve my HRV and biofeedback. So cardio, sauna, and even biofeedback, the breathwork training, are 3 more things I'm going to be able to add. Now, again, there's not necessarily a rush, but what I want to be able to do now is implement those, retest in about 6 months, and see if I can continue to even tweak this to a further degree. So I simply wanted to share this with you here today, that no matter what you think are your upper limits, it is possible to surpass those. And we all need someone out there that's come before us that's done it. And I had never seen it. So in everything else, I know people have overcome Addison's disease. I'm not the only one. Same with rheumatoid arthritis. I know people have overcome POTS. So I was able to do that. I said, hey, listen, if someone out there has been able to do it, I can too. But I'd never seen someone with the genetic hand that I was dealt be able to reduce their rate of aging anywhere below 0.95. Because typically it's about a 1.1. That's the minimum when you have this type of genotype. I want to share with you today, and I'll leave a screenshot today at stevencabral.com/2708. It is the highest standard of testing as well. The Dunedin study that I've talked about before. And I want to share this as simply a message of hope that you can overcome any challenges, any diagnosis that you've been given. Never let any doctor or anyone out there tell you that you have an upper limit as to how you can heal, how well you can become, and how much potential you have in this life. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate this community. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. All the show notes today will be available at stevencabral.com/2708. I'll share the biological age test as well. And do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Thank you. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stevencabral.com/resources.